So welcome to the Reimagining Our Workforce and Housing Priorities panel discussion. My name is Joseph Wise-Wiley, and I am the Program Director of Workforce and Housing at the Justice Care and Opportunities Department. The link between employment and housing is undeniable for anyone, but especially for the justice-impacted population. It is impossible to secure independent living without stable employment, and it is impossible to maintain employment without a safe place to sleep and call home. On top of the usual issues that all of us face that impact our economic well-being, like the status of the economy and housing market, justice-impacted individuals face legal and discriminatory barriers that make it even harder to secure a job and a place to live. This can be further compounded by racial, gender, and sexual preference biases. Our panel today is composed of experts in the field who have made it their mission to reduce these barriers and offer solutions so justice-impacted individuals can thrive. We will be holding about 5 minutes at the end for questions, and afterwards we do ask that you leave up the stairs through that exit. A full biography of the panel can be found online, but I do want to get a little introduction going. So I would like to start the conversation by having each of the panelists do a quick intro stating their name, where they work, and answering my favorite question. If you had a magic wand, what would be one housing or employment policy at the county, state, or federal level that you would change, do away with, or create that would improve the lives of justice-impacted individuals? We'll go ahead and get started with you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's so great to be here. My name is Sabamwine Chang, and I serve as a Deputy Chief Equity Officer at the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. And I love this question because I think it's really important for us to envision and co-create together. And so my offering for this question is around social housing, which is a model that is public housing that's deeply funded and has units across income levels so that we can build a more integrated society because we're still very segregated, especially in our urban cores. So that's what I'm offering for the magic wand.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Vincent Bragg. I am co-founder and CEO of an advertising agency called ConCreates. So we do, marketing, branding, commercials for some of the biggest brands on the planet, and we hire formerly incarcerated individuals. My answer to the magic wand question, I think if I could wave a magic wand, I would like to change the way that we value the men and women that we serve, right? Like if there was a scale that we could create that would actually show the level of value that each one of these individuals are worth. Because, it's not just about housing, right? You could put someone in a house, but that house that they live in also creates the way that they show up to work, the way that they, exist in the world. So I think we should change the way we value people.
Nice, great answer.
Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Is this on?
No. You have to click it.
Oh, okay.
Boom. There we go.
All right. I am in business. Good morning, everybody. My name is Michelle Fuentes Miranda. I'm the CEO and founder of Alliance for Community Empowerment, ACE for short. It's an honor to be here today, and I feel like it's like a family reunion of just being around so many folks that we've worked with over the years and folks that are in the work with us. With my magic wand, as an organization, we expanded our services into housing, and I would make sure that there was a roadmap for organizations that wanted to expand their services and begin to offer housing. There currently isn't a roadmap that is made available for organizations to know what are those steps to expand. We have a lot of our tax dollars put out for housing, and we're needing more housing. And there's a lot of very wonderful, highly qualified organizations that are prepared to do the work, but just kind of don't know the first steps in running housing. And so my magic wand, I would really create a pathway for organizations to be able to expand into housing.
All right. Good morning, room. My name is Katina Holiday, and that Holiday is with 2 L's. I am from Holiday's Helping Hands, where we provide interim housing to the JCOD program, Power Women, particularly families. And one of our niches is we provide housing for pregnant incarcerated women, where we give second chances at life. So if I had my magic wand, or if I was a genie in the bottle, I was like, what would I do? I would create an easier pathway for these individuals to create livable wages. I know that our minimum wage is $17 an hour, but people really need $25 to live. So for me, to make that more sustainable and creating those opportunities for those individuals would be that. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Royal Ramey. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program. It's a nonprofit organization that helps people that's in California conservation camps, also known as fire camps, transition to the fire service professionally. To the magic wand question, it costs $138,860 to house one person in California prison today. And what I would want to do is use that money to create a fund. Instead of going to prison, we can create a fund to be able to figure out how to really rehabilitate folks.
Like that.
My name is Aaron Valencia, founder and CEO of Lost Angels Career Center, and I'm with you, honestly. I mean, that's amazing magic wand. What we do, we created, innovation for TAY youth, 18 to 24, 18 to 30, actually now, for formerly incarcerated, former foster, young people, disadvantaged, coming from disadvantaged backgrounds, in a 12-week vocational training center where young people learn vocational training and get jobs in aerospace. So it's those livable wage jobs that we're talking about. I think that my magic wand is, what we find is there has to be a lot more supportive service for young people, because I could teach you how to read a tape measure, teach you how to weld, get you that job, but there has to be a lot more to keep you in that job. And life on life's terms kind of comes up and kicks you sometimes. So how do we support people on the day-to-day? So I think that's what we need.
All great answers. And I think what I really appreciate about this is that there's already synergy between your responses and in what you all do. We have social service providers, we have employment providers, and we have housing providers here. And that kind of leads into the next question of, how is your organization or department collaborating with partner agencies to secure employment opportunities or housing for justice impacted individuals? And even what potential future partnerships do you see on the panel here?
I'll take a stab at that.
I thought you was going to pick somebody.
Nope, he said we're going to answer. So anyway, at Holidays Helping Hands, we wanted to be an answer to the problem. So we created our own solution. We created a Shine Ambassador Worksource program so that our clients are able to learn culinary arts. They are able to learn, we have a new school of nursing that we're excited about, where they can become certified nursing assistants. We offer this program to our clients for free. This is a $2,000 program because, at Holidays Helping Hands, we say we believe in giving a hand up and not a hand out. So we teach them to be contributing members of society for those that can. And so we have created our own in-house program. But not only that, we're looking for ways to collaborate with other people as well. So we do hire our employees after we finish training them. So we're giving them those opportunities. And that's what it's about.
So excited about this question because JCOD, ARC, Amity Foundation, my organization, and LA County Fire has a Los Angeles County Training Center out in Calabasas, and we are focused on folks like TAY participants and trying to be able to provide an opportunity when it comes to getting them a career in the fire service. while, giving them residential housing, right? They getting fed, they getting all the tools and resources they need to be successful. So obviously that's a big thing. Got collaborators with CAL FIRE, the state's fire department. Got a $3.7 million grant like a couple of years ago, right?
That's big.
And then also partnerships with the U.S. Forest Service, and really having that relationship with the employer to understand that, we do have a labor shortage here when it comes to wildland firefighting, and we have folks that's in prison getting the training but not receiving the certifications or even the roadmap to become a firefighter. So that's one of the things that I'm so excited about for us as an organization, collaborating with JCOD. Also excited to try to collaborate with my guy Vincent over there. We had some synergy a couple of years back, and I think that maybe we can, spark something. So thanks.
No doubt.
Awesome.
Also, too, I think for us, being an advertising agency, I think a lot of folks don't, especially who come from like the communities we come from, which is, impoverished or formerly incarcerated. Like, we don't even really understand like the process of advertising. Like, we see a 30-second ad and don't realize it was probably 223 jobs that one 30-second ad. And so, there's a whole lot that goes into it, from production to strategy to all of these different positions. And when we talk about those livable wages, I don't know a better industry that pays better. Like, we got folks that make more money than a doctor per year for coming up with ideas, like former bank robbers or strategists in our company. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Some good strategists.
At $800 an hour, though. You know what I'm saying? And so an advertising workday is 10 hours. So someone who makes $800 an hour is an $8,000 day for a project. And I think, we don't even understand like that. That's where the money at. And essentially we get to be kids. We get to literally use our imagination all day, every day, and get paid to do it. And so I would love to collaborate with folks on the vocational training side, just to kind of get more people in our industry who come from our communities, because we're not, we're pretty, non-existent. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's definitely going to be a future partnership right here with us. I might even put in a job application too a little bit. So. I'll take your business card later. As the founder of our organization, one of the first tasks was kind of coming up with a name for our organization, and I came up with Alliance for Community Empowerment. A, because it's at the beginning of the alphabet. And second, because alliance. I knew that if this organization was going to be successful, it was only going to be because of strategic partnerships. And so I appreciate the question. And it's been the success and the growth of our organization. We have our sector staff that are here with us today, so ACE staff. In our sector program, we have a construction training program funded by JCOD, and we're grateful that we were a part of one of the pilot programs. Note to folks that write grants, we didn't qualify because they weren't going to fund anybody in the San Fernando Valley, but we still applied, and they selected our grant. And so always push the envelope a little bit if you can. But through the sector program, we have a construction training, and we were struggling as an organization where we're running out of like location space. And then also our program, the grant that we applied for, it was a small amount, and so meant small staff, and we needed more partnership. And so we reached out to our West Valley Occupational Center that's through LAUSD, and met with the principal, who said, you know what, I have some empty bungalows. And I'm like, well, I have staff that need some office space. And she's like, but what, and we do vocational training. And I'm like, well, we need vocational training. We have the authorization to use MC3. And she's like, we've been wanting that authorization. And so just in these conversations, and I'm like, and I've got no money. And she's like, that's okay, because I don't have any money either. And I'm like, this is perfect, right? And so she moved us in, and so our staff are co-located on West Valley Occupational Center's site. They have a beautiful construction lab. They pay for the construction trainer. We provide the curriculum and the certification process. Then we're like, well, let's bring more people to the party. And we brought in our worksource center. And so when support service dollars are low, they're like, hey, your participants qualify. And so they're covering at times boots and other types of support service expenses. And it's been a beautiful partnership. Oh, by the way, one of the major players also is the LA Orange County Building and Trades Council. And so we're like, all right, and you're the placement partner. And so they have their staff that come out and they're there for orientation and they're there throughout, also helping facilitate for union tours. And so this beautiful partnership of everybody coming together, nobody's giving anybody else money. We're leveraging the resources that we have. And our participants have such an enriched experience from experts in different spaces. And so that's just an example of what we've been able to do with our sector program. Thank you for giving us the grant we didn't qualify for.
No, I really appreciate that, because I think a lot of the work we do is relational, and it's just about reaching out and calling and emailing over and over and over again as many people as you can so you can build the network. And I think this is a great opportunity to do that here as well. So really appreciate that answer.
Thank you so much. And I just want to note the theme of collaboration that's so beautiful and I think so instrumental in this work. Homelessness and the experience of coming out and being in re-entry phase of a person's life, those experiences tend to be intersectional. And so we at the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority work in such a way where we have housing coordinators, we have folks that are working particularly to serve reentry folks in housing and also obtaining work. And one of the ways that we do that is to collaborate with other agencies that are doing this focused work and creating opportunities for us to partner together to really come around and support people. Because one of the things that I observe and we're working to in this field is understanding how systemic racism and our history as a nation of land and labor extraction is part of the reason why we're all so siloed in systems in the United States. So this integration piece about sharing resource and wrapping around individuals and really creating community is absolutely integral. And one of the housing resources that we offer in partnership with JCOD is that housing, like interim housing, bridge housing, exactly what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. So when you're coming back into community, you have a place to stay until you can find permanent housing. And that resource is just so the thing is, like, we just really want everyone to have those kinds of opportunities to get settled, to have a place to sleep, to have a place to stay, and then find housing if they don't already have it. And so that's one of the ways we really collaborate and make sure to wrap around support to folks. So thank you. And I feel like, I don't know, are we all gonna have a chance to answer all the questions? It's okay.
I think we have time.
Okay.
I think we're good.
If we could, I know. Hello. All right, there we go. I know for us, we're primarily out in Lancaster, Palmdale, in the Antelope Valley, and for us, we tend to feel like we're on an island. Mm. And I don't know if a lot of other organizations or founders or up-and-coming organizations, kind of startup, it's that collaboration is kind of hard. We want to work together, but what we found is sometimes for us is when we send, maybe a resource or referral, if we don't handle it in-house, it doesn't get done. And at the end of the day, that young person or whoever needs help, if they feel like they're getting passed around, they just lose interest, and we never know if we're gonna see them again. And sometimes that's the stuff that we'll lose sleep about. So it's really, what can we do right here, right now, today? That's our everything. So for us, the collaboration stuff was really hard for a long time, and it really wasn't until foundations and organizations started funding us and started bringing people to the table saying, hey, I know the work you guys are doing, we're funding, but we're also working with this other organization over here, and they're a real deal. we want you to link you up. And sometimes coming from a foundation collaboration, that's been so much more integral, and we've been able to grow really, really efficiently with, I say, like the right doors open at the right time. You know, things that we wanted to work, collaborations we wanted to work, didn't work out, but when the right people show up, and all of a sudden we can move mountains together. So, yeah, so I guess the whole thing is that if it's not working, don't feel alone, you know?
Yeah. I think reputation is so important amongst the population we serve, and they speak to each other and they know each other, and if we're not providing the services that we promise, that gets around. So I think we owe to them to hold each other accountable and to make sure that that linkage to the B7 houses, that training opportunity, that warm handoff is happening. And I think everyone here believes that as well and is really passionate about it. So I think something we can do is definitely hold each other accountable with those connections so that people don't fall through the cracks and get more resources to where it's needed in the areas that are those deserts. So I really appreciate those answers. And speaking of, so as you all mentioned, either you have contracts with JCOD or the county or partnerships with JCOD and the county. What strategies would you like to see us enact to be able to encourage employers and landlords to hire or house justice impacted individuals? Or as a whole, what could JCOD be doing better to serve the population? And be honest.
I wrote this answer down. But I won't go first. I'll let somebody else go first.
You want me to go first? I can go first. I can do like a macro level. So one of the things that I think many of us don't realize is that we have a really great civil rights law on the books called the Fair Housing Act. Mm-hmm. And many of us don't know that we are protected under multiple protected classes under this act. I know I didn't. When I first had moved to LA and my son was little and we were like looking at this great apartment, we were like, great, we're gonna get it. And then as soon as we mentioned that we had a toddler, they were like, oh no, we're not gonna rent to you. We don't rent to anyone with kids on the second floor. I didn't know, but did y'all know that that is actually illegal?
It is.
Yes. And so under the familial status protection. But we also have a new protection under our fair housing law called source of income, which means you can't discriminate against anyone based on their source of income. So if they have a Section 8 voucher, it is illegal to discriminate against folk. We're also protected under race and disability. And one of the things that I'm observing in our area of work in homelessness is that we are not doing all, like we need to build coalition around this issue of fair housing so that people, first of all, are aware of the issue, are aware of their rights, right? Because a lot of it has to do with not knowing and building that education campaign, but also taking this new opportunity to, and I don't want to say it doesn't have to be so harsh to say enforce, because a lot of providers that are looking to, people are trying to build a relationship with these landlords, and that's some of the power tension that when you're looking for housing for your participant, your community member, you kind of have this dynamic. But let's call these landlords in. Let's call them in and let them know that, we're protected under the Fair Housing Act. And let's work closely with our partners in fair housing because they're also strapped. So I just wanted to put that in everyone's mind that we have this opportunity, a gift from our forefather, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who advocated in Chicago during the freedom movement for housing, for fair housing, and then we got it. But we have to work to really use that law.
Yeah, and I will take this opportunity to plug that JCOD is working on a Fair Chance campaign, both for employment and for housing. And so we'll definitely start reaching out to you and your team when we start to implement it, because it's so powerful when the population knows their rights and knows how to advocate for themselves. And so we'll definitely be following up with you on that. I'm going to make a list of action items in my head that we'll cover later.
Take notes for Joseph, please.
I think for us, being able to, at JCOD's level, to be able to network at a much higher level to reach a lot of other employers and a lot of other housing, especially employers is kind of our bag right now. Mm-hmm. And to where they will give second chance for people with felonies. There's a lot of jobs that just, sorry, they see your record, that's your resume's in the trash instantly. So more of a second chance employer, those conversations can be done at a higher level. They don't want to talk to me. Those, and then for our young people, young people that 18 to 24, a lot of people don't want to hire them, or they want to hire them and take advantage at $15 an hour. And how do we advocate for a higher level entry? So there's a lot more conversations that need to be done or can be done at a higher level, and then to be bringing us in as a boots on the ground. So I think that would be amazing for us, for our young people.
That's right.
I can go next. I know it's not Friday, but I'm gonna keep it funky. To be honest with you, we just gotta bring folks to the table. Employers, landlords, and also justice impacted folks, right? And I think I had the pleasure of being a Obama Foundation fellow, and what I learned was like negotiation. But before you can negotiate, you have to understand, the other parties or other, folks' side and how they feeling and what they want to, accomplish and do. So it's really about, the wants and needs of both parties and how can we make this happen? And we have to understand, right? And when we understand each other, for example, obviously businesses want to generate income. You have just the fact that folks want to have, affordable housing, want to have a family-winning career, and how can we make that happen? And, I tell my participants all the time, like, you can't show up sagging, you can't show up, looking a certain type of way or talking a certain type of way.
You can at ConCreates.
Right. but in my field, right? But like, it gotta be some truth, but it gotta be some negotiate. It gotta be some give and take. Right? In any way. Like, you got to come correct. So, just to keep it funky, you got to come correct. I love this dude, man. He always on me. But we just got to know on how to, negotiate and figure out, both needs, wants, and how to make it happen. So.
All right. I think for me, what I said here is we need to hold our city officials and government accountable for enacting policies that create meaningful opportunities for our justice impacted individuals. At Holidays Helping Hands, we have taken initiative to offer these opportunities ourselves, but real change, you guys, requires a collective effort. Everyone in this room can take action by setting guidelines and advocating for policies and open doors to employment and housing for those who have been impacted by the justice system. Without such opportunities, we perpetuate a cycle of recidivism, leaving individuals with no viable options outside the system. By creating clear pathways to reintegration, we provide hope and dignity to these individuals, giving them a chance to rebuild their lives and contribute positively to society. The county and JCOD should focus on strategies like tax incentives for employers and landlords, as well as stronger partnerships with organizations that specialize in reentry programs, which is exactly what JCOD is doing. These efforts could create a supportive environment where justice-impacted individuals are given the tools and opportunities to succeed, rather than be trapped in a cycle of failure.
Okay, thank you. I feel like it's two parts, right? We can identify employers that are fair chance employers, but how are we supporting them? How are we ensuring that our employers are not re-traumatizing, right, the employees? And so, our organization, we're a fair chance employer, and prior to hiring individuals that have been formerly incarcerated or justice impacted, our HR department looked a particular way. And afterwards, we really realized if we really want to help people be successful, we need to really think about who we were as an employer and what changes we need to make internally to where we're helping support our employees to be successful. We would have employees that, had master's degrees and never been incarcerated, and then we would hire somebody that had served 24 years in prison and had no experience whatsoever in the workforce. and how are we help supporting that individual in the same manner as the other, right? And so I think that how the county can help support is collectively cross departments, right? From JCOD has their Fair Chance initiative that you'll be rolling out with soon. Can't wait. But then also reaching out to the Department of Equal Opportunity to be able to say, can they incorporate some training to be able to help employers, free training to employers, layered with obviously the incentives. Just side note, the incentives are not available for nonprofit organizations. And so it'd be great to kind of tease some incentives so that also nonprofit organizations can take advantage as well. But yeah, I think that it's important to be able to get employers that will be fair chance employers, but how are we also helping support them so that they can be successful in what they do? Because, if an employee goes and just something happens, I don't know, it's just when people are not prepared, they can re-traumatize.
Yeah, and it works on the flip side too, where something can happen at work and they bring it back to the interim housing and they're maybe not prepared to handle that situation. So re-traumatization is very prevalent in these individuals' lives at every level, and nothing exists in a vacuum. So what happens in one system affects the other. So I think we could be definitely more intentional at providing that kind of training to the interim housing providers of how to de-escalate and how to handle those situations at the same time as the employers too, because we've experienced it as well with community health workers. They are individual lived experience. They also get re-traumatized a lot, and they have that experience of that counter-transference with clients, and we need to arm them to be able to handle that because something can come up with them.
Oh, one other little thing, sorry. It's also encouraging, in this maybe initiative, it's also encouraging for organization or companies, right, to partner with nonprofit organizations. I have family that run businesses, and they're just all around, like increasing sales and revenue and marketing, and they're not thinking about partnering with CBOs and how CBOs can play a really supportive role, right? And so I think incorporating that as well in, Fair Chance Initiative, partnering with CBOs that can help lend some free support, wraparound services.
All right, so the original question was, how could JCOD or other organizations partner or be better partners? And I kind of just feel like, since this whole panel is about reimagining how that goes, I think it kind of brings me back to my original magic wand question, right? It's the value, right? And it's like when you guys are sitting down creating these budgets for housing, or how are you valuing the service that you're providing to a partner, right? Like how is that being valued, and like what is the impact of it, not just from a budget standpoint and what the actual need is, but then it becomes like, how do you not just put somebody in a home, but actually make that house a home, right? You know what I'm saying? Like are we thinking about that? Like, 'cause what's the difference between a sale and a house? You know what I'm saying? Like, so how are we valuing the budget or the input or the impact that we're putting into it? I think is a conversation for, individuals to sit at the table and really talk about how we could reimagine the impact that we're really having.
Yeah.
I think, you turn off on me. Are we good? Hello? All right. I think for us, what we found was setting a high bar for our young people coming through. And what we found is, where I thought kids don't want structure. They don't want to, we have a thing of no swearing, no foul language. And people thought, kids are going to swear. Everybody swears. I'm like, well, not here at work. Because at the end of the day, this is work. And we want you to invest in yourself so you can own a home and have a family. At the end of the day, it's a job. So what we do is we try and set a high bar and fully encourage them and know and believe in them that they can reach that high bar. There's no tardies. You can't be late. can't miss days, can't have foul language, can't have your cell phone, because at the end of the day, it's a job. We got to work. What we found is when we set a high bar for our people, they meet that bar and they go and leave with that self-confidence and that knowing that they can conquer anything. But that comes from the classes, the trainings, the environment that we go and put them in. Some people are coming from, I know a lot of us, or I know myself, coming from an environment of not having anybody there that's got your back, or anybody there that's showing you the right way or how to be there. So without that support, your bar is a lot lower, and you've been able to run the streets and get away with a lot of stuff. And how do we set a high bar for our people and have them and give them all the encouragement and support to meet that high bar, and then they go and leave and conquer the world.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that.
I'll just add a little bit, like jumping off what you said in terms of what makes a house a home.
Yeah.
And really service providers, working to support folk to integrate, to enjoy the community that they live in. We don't have enough funding for those types of programs, unfortunately, in the homelessness system. We need more of that. Just basic, like, being together, cooking together, finding out what community, like, museums are around, where am I, like, helping people to find their doctors, things like that are really essential. But I think the quality of services is something that we were really, at the equity department at LACC, deepening our thinking around, because we know that white supremacy, because the majority of people that experience homelessness in Los Angeles are people of color. We know that white supremacy becomes internalized. We know that we have to create a sense of belonging for folk. And you can do that in physical space. Trauma-informed care can be done in the way that you create, like, an inviting environment. It can be done in the interpersonal relationship that you have with someone. But we also want to deepen that idea of trauma-informed care to culturally specific care. I don't know about y'all, but like growing up, I didn't see very many people that looked like me. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. It was all like skinny chic. Now everything's changed. But like even that basic thing of like seeing people that look like you can hang art, black art in these spaces, have services where the people that you're serving look like the people that are providing the services. So we just have to be real. A lot of this racial trauma has not been addressed. And when we're in a therapeutic setting, we have the opportunity to really do that and create that deep sense of belonging. So I think that's part of the solution too.
Thank you. So I want to give time for audience questions, but just action item, quickly recap. Guide for people who want to start housing.
Yes.
Turning houses into homes and making sure that there's enough money in the budget, bringing people in to build the program that are going to be experiencing the program, more TASE services for youth, more services in the Antelope Valley. What else?
You're doing good.
All right. We got
Support employers.
Yes.
He was listening.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and ask if anyone has a question, and I will bring the mic to you. I guess it's the best way to do it.
Hi, my question is for the guidance for providers. I'm a partner with a housing empowerment program in the Watts area of Los Angeles. It's a partnership between Little Granny's Touch and my organization Embrace Change Now. And we're just starting out. However, I am a therapist as well, so I do understand about trauma-informed care. So I do want to be able to get some additional guidance because I do have a partner as well that does not have the same educational background. And we talk about partnerships and where some of those conflicts start to come into play when we're trying to provide services to individuals and families. So I would like to be able to get some information further from you. And then also what you mentioned about quality housing, just not placing people in bed spaces. And sometimes it becomes what is a numbers game. But at the same time, we want to be able to provide quality services. So providing that education as well to new providers. Again, we have some of those same things with the mindset and understanding that people deserve to have quality spaces, whether they're small, tiny, big, and the environment, the ecological system. When someone's coming home, they don't want to feel like they're still that's re-triggering and re-traumatizing. So I think that mentorship programs, maybe for some of you successful providers, I know that we're looking for some mentorship so that we can have better partnerships, because I see the vision and I have the understanding, but sometimes you work with people that may not be at that level of understanding yet. Sure. So wanting to get some resources regarding that. And thank you all for the great things that you guys are doing. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you. We have about 5 minutes left.
My name is Noreen McClendon with Concerned Citizens of South Central Los Angeles. We've been around a long, long, long time. I was extremely happy to hear you talk about raising the bar on the expectation of the participants. We have developed over 700 units of affordable housing. We house people. I teach in the prisons. Long. Okay. All right. But what I do know is that people coming home from incarceration have a very low threshold for what is considered disrespect. So what happens is they go into the workplace, and when somebody tells them, go over there and do this, as opposed to saying, would you please, if you can right now, go over there and do that, so they feel disrespected. Well, the reality is, like you said, you can't have your cell phone, you can't have it your way, you can't do what you want in the workplace. I want to see us raise the bar on the expectations for the participants, but you got to teach them. In teaching in the prison, the older women were talking about how the young women come in and they're nasty and they don't clean themselves, et cetera, et cetera. A young lady, 25 years old, said, well, maybe you should teach them, because nobody taught me to properly clean myself until I came to prison. So you got to understand there's a lot that they don't know. A lot of people wound up incarcerated because they didn't have good family structures and nobody taught them anything. So we cannot go assuming that they know, even in housing, that cleaning the house, you got to clean the stove regularly. You got to clean the floors. You got to, all of these things that they don't know. We just assume because we know that everybody knows that you got to take a bath daily, right? That you got to clean the floors when you got to clean the stove when you do the dishes, right? There's some basic things that we need to understand that the participants need. And there's a lot of, and then what are the practical steps to healing the trauma? What do we do? And I got a lot of help with that. I actually, CDCR actually is paying me to expand my teaching on my curriculum in the prison. They don't pay for nothing. And listen, them people, hey, when I want to tell y'all, look, just Twix us in here, they sent me money in advance, y'all.
All right now.
And then emailed me last week and said, hey, we got another 21 grand we want to give you. I ain't asked, so I'm telling y'all I could help.
We have time for one more question in the back right there.
We talked about collaboration, huh?
Right. Yeah.
She has money.
I'm one of the workers. I work with different clients as soon as they get out, right? I find that, especially as it pertains to housing or the interim housing, when they get to these places, they tend to feel like they're back in prison. They tend to feel like they have to do the same things that they were doing when they were locked up. There's like lights out. There's certain ways that they have to move amongst these like placements, and even waiting to get a placement, to get inside of these places, to get a bed has taken a long time. And I've had several clients that as soon as they got out, they were fleeing to the pavement. They wanted to do better. One of my clients, he got a job. He's currently a caseworker, but he couldn't find a bed. So like, what do you see helping that as far as loss is concerned? And also like the call center calls, we get these calls for housing, and a lot of us are not housing workers. And then there's a runaround to try to find housing workers in order to get them placed or to get them beds or to get them an apartment once they start working. Because I have a client right now living in his car.
Everybody looked at you. How do you solve the problem?
I appreciate that, and I thank you for your comment and your question. And absolutely, love to connect after this so that I can give you the email and the contact information for our person on staff who's responsible particularly in coordinating the B7 beds that we talked about, so that you have a direct line to that individual. And he's great. He helped me prepare for this session today. His name's David. So we'll connect after.
Yeah, we're wrapping up right now, but that's a very loaded question that takes a lot of thought, and I really appreciate you asking it. I also want to connect with you afterwards. At the end of the day, what I will say, what is needed is more money. We need more funding to be able, there's a scarcity mindset around housing, and there's so much housing out there that we can utilize and build community through. We just need the money to do it. All right, we're gonna wrap up today. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, final thought.
I just want to say thank you for that. Just to reiterate, the 100% of that right here, right now, I think is everything. We had a young man. He got pardoned on something. He did when he was 15. Did about 9 years. Got pardoned and came to us, and we didn't have anything right then. It was like, hey man, in a couple weeks we're gonna be able to get you back in here. We're gonna send you over here, and they'll get you going. They didn't get him going.
Yeah.
And that person like slipped through our fingers. He's back in prison already. And I'm just like, oh man, we had him. He was in the chair. So that right here, right now is like, I think that's the if I take away anything from this whole thing is how do we become more right here, right now? Because we might not get him back in the chair.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
That's great.
Boom.